Hi, it's Rob, and talking about confession, I guess. And I've been trying to follow the prompts and research for at least my tradition, and kind of reflecting the differences, especially with the Celebration of Discipline book. I'm reading the Richard Foster book, and I've noticed that our tradition is not like, I guess, a lot of traditions. A lot more, I guess, more the high church traditions. Ours, I'm from the Church of God. That's where I pastor. We are part of the Holiness churches, so Church of Nazarene, Wesleyan Church, the Assemblies of God, Pentecostal churches, and then us from Church of God Anderson. And so we kind of highlight altar calls, and so I think altar calls is basically how we kind of weave confession in with our worship, with our life in the church, and it's kind of gone on the wayside because a lot of churches and their construction and the aesthetics and even in the maybe their modeling have kind of left altars off to the side or maybe not made them a central focus or maybe not even given altar calls anymore. Not that altar calls are like weekly, but that was kind of the idea, at least in our more traditional churches, was that this time after the message at the close of worship was this time that you would engage with God, that you would confess, that you would seek after His blessings. Our church, our tradition churches, or excuse me, our tradition preaches sanctification to receive in an altar. I more say sanctification is out there when you follow God into community, but it's this time of like where you just that's your time with God, I guess, after the message, after the promptings and the prayers and the songs and so yeah, that's how our tradition has done it, and we've lost it because again they've taken it out with the different aesthetics, but also it's not used as prevalent because we've bred a culture that kind of says you have to be a saint, and that if that by being a saint you're not a sinner anymore, so you identify as a saint, not a sinner. And it's I don't preach that. I preach more of a both and I think that's kind of what Foster talks about is it's a both and that we've lost that because we're afraid if someone sees me go up to the altar that I'm confessing sin, that I'm going to God with my troubles, my worries, my cares, and that I'm no longer part of the saints or the body of Christ. Or I think it's silly, and I think Foster talks about the idea that we do need to cultivate the atmosphere, or the culture that we are sinners and sinners in the need of grace, and that we're also saints, that we're also called of God, that we're also set apart, that we're also living this new life that lives out our baptism. And so yeah, that's kind of the confession in my tradition, and hopefully I covered everything. So, shalom.